Hey there, welcome to my channel. My name is Linda. I'm so glad you're able to join me today. I've got a lot of fun in store for you. So what are we waiting for? Let's get started. Today we're going to be working on easy DIY winter crafts using Dollar Tree supplies. So let's get started with project number 1. So for this project, I'm using one of these decoration pieces. They still have them in our Dollar Tree. I took it apart and then I'm going to use part of it and just free-handed a shape of a winter hat. And for the top, I'm either going to use this cute little hanging cloud or maybe this one from the sign, whichever one I think the size looks better. So this wood, obviously a lot of Dollar Tree home decor is pretty thin. So I'm just able to take a ruler and a craft knife, a couple of passes. As you can see here, sorry I'm just a little bit off camera, but you can see the gist of it. A few passes, and then I had to kind of go through once more, a little bit heavier handed, but then I can just kind of pop it, flip it back and forth and pop it off just like that. And once I got all that off, I'm just taking some of my heavy duty scissors and I'm kind of cutting off the excess, and then I'll take my electric sander, or you could use a sanding block, and then just kind of smooth it, the edges down. So I'm taking this one apart, taking the tassel and stuff off, and I'll have to fill the holes with wood filler, and I'm just kind of seeing which one I like better at the top for, like the little pom-pom. And you could actually add a real pom-pom there. I thought about that too. And it's kind of in between sizes, so I think I'll end up with the larger cloud size. I'm taking another thin piece of wood from a Dollar Tree wood sign here, the do-it-yourself wood pieces, and I am just cutting that to the size I want, about 1 inch bigger than the hat itself. I'm not going to give you measurements here because you may want your hat a little smaller, bigger, and you just make a couple of passes and snap it back and forth. So I've got everything done here and sanded, and I traced around each of the pieces and then redrew a perimeter about 1/2 inch in and cut that out. And our next project, I'll go a little bit more in depth and kind of show you how I did that. So went with the larger cloud, aka our pom-pom on top. I think it's a little big, but the other was a little too small. And so I cut out my fabric pieces, and I also cut out some thin felt here, about 1/2 inch smaller than the original fabric there. And then I'm using some thin black felt here. There was thin white felt, of course, all from Dollar Tree. And I cut 3 pieces out of this felt because it is pretty thin for our brim. And the fabric, I believe I got at Joann's. You can see how I cut that. And then 3 little pieces for our little pom-pom at the top. And I cut it just a little bit smaller, as you can see here. Now I'm going to go ahead and start painting on the pieces. So I'm going to use Dixie Belle chalk paint in the color Caviar for the brim and our little pom-pom topper. And Debbie's Design Diary DIY White Swan paint for the main hat. I've got some snowflakes in my stash here. Of course, Dollar Tree puts out wood snowflakes. You could, it was in with the Christmas stuff. Comes with the package of wood snowflakes and that. A Let It Snow wood piece from Dollar Tree, the little ornaments from Christmas. And I painted it, I'm painting it in Debbie's Design Diary DIY paint in Gravel Road. And then I end up painting one in this White Swan as well, because I wasn't sure which one I wanted to go with. And in the end, you'll see I end up going with the White Swan color on that little Let It Snow Dollar Tree ornament there. I'm just painting around the edges on the front and the side, and I'll paint the back fully. On the hat and then the pom-pom and the brim, just so the back's finished off. Painting my little snowflakes here. And I got these from a friend of mine. I'll get that link in the description box for you, the little snowflakes, if you want to order those. Here I am on my fabric pieces. I want to sew around it. You can totally skip this part. I just like to add the sewing to give a little bit kind of more warmth and comfort. But if you're not a sewer, skip this part. Just glue your pieces together if you decide to, cut 3 each on the felt. But I think the felt's pretty thin. If you have thicker felt, nicer You can see what the sewing looks like here on this and the hat. If you have a nicer, thicker quality felt, like you buy off the bolt at, Joann's or Walmart or Hobby Lobby, something like that, you could totally just cut one piece. Here's my pieces here. I've distressed around the edges, just a little bit sanding, just to give it a little bit of a rustic flavor. And again, you could skip this part if it's not your style. And I'm going to go ahead and glue the back piece back onto our hat. And I do glue the hat. You can see there, I've penciled in where I'm going to glue it. I glue the hat on at an angle just to give it a little bit of personality. But you can glue it on totally straight if you want to. And then I'm going to go ahead and start gluing my pieces on here. I'll show you a little bit more on the part of the fabric, how it looks, because the black is a little bit hard to see on camera. But when I glue this on, I go ahead, get it, patted down in the center, and then I go around the edges and I kind of push the fabric in toward the center to kind of make it look like the center's poofy. And like I said, you'll be able to see that a little bit better when I get to the fabric on the hat, because, it's a little bit lighter in color. Also, I just wanted to point it out, if you look at my hat up in the top corner there, I did go ahead and kind of use my staple gun and add a couple staples there as well, but you could skip that. I was just trying to, a little more security, but the glue would have worked just fine. If you're hot gluing, I might staple or even use tiny little nails. Pushing in that fabric there on the brim, and now I'm adding in my thin felt. You can see how thin it is here, but on the hat part, I add a little felt underneath. I'm gluing the two pieces together, because I want it really poofy on the hat. Okay, so here I am adding the glue onto the hat, laying it down over that felt. Again, that felt's cut about a ½ inch shorter all the way around versus the hat part. So you can see how I push it down, and that felt being a ½ inch smaller in size, you can see how I can really push that fabric up against that felt to make it look really, really poofy. See how poofy it is here? And I'll, of course, push down those little gappy edges a little bit better. But by adding that felt there, makes it really poofy. I didn't do that on the brim and that because, it was already felt anyway. And I pushed it in enough to make it really poofy looking. So I hope that's all understandable. So here I am just marking my brim and my little pom-pom at the top, so I know where I'm going to add my glue, so you don't see it from the back side. So the back side kind of looks nice and finished. And I'll go ahead and add my glue in here. And I'll do it for both pieces. I'll add the glue, and then I use those cute little pink clamps or little clips from Dollar Tree, see here, to kind of clip it together just for a couple of minutes to allow the glue to dry. And I'm using Beacon Fabri-Tac glue today, as I do on all my projects. I can't advocate enough for it. I love it. It holds as good as E6000 or Gorilla Glue or anything like that, although I do occasionally pull those glues out. Now we're going to start decorating. I've just got some winter picks here. In the next project, I'll show you a little bit more of the packaging of what I'm using that came from Dollar Tree, but I'm just gluing down some wintry picks. Now this project and the next project uses the same pieces because it is a matching set. One of these clips from Dollar Tree, some pip berries, some white twine I've already got tied in a bow. I'm going to add on some gray beads, which these were, I painted gray, and I show you that in the next project. Add a white bead and a little black bead. And these were already those colors, so the white and black bead I don't have to paint. Just adding them on to the end of the twine on my twine bow here. Perfect. And then I'll figure out the length I want these here, so I'm just set this on and figure out the length, tie a little knot at each end of the beads here, and cut off the excess. And I like these to always be a little bit one longer and one shorter, just, for cuteness. Perfect. Now I'm going to add some glue inside the little clothespin of the sign. I'm going to add the pip berries in there. And then I'm going to add in the little twine bow. Perfect. And then I'm going to start gluing on my snowflakes here. I'll put one on each end of the brim hat, and then one here in the center of our cute little clip. And then I'm going to go ahead, I've got a fabric bow here I've already tied. Again, I'll show you that in the next project what I used. Tied into a bow, of course, so glue that on. And then here's the white and the gray. I like them both, but in the end, the gray is a little more subtle, but I end up going with the white because I thought it looked better with the detailing of the white snowflakes. And I'm choosing these colors because these are going to my cousins, and she kind of wanted white, gray, and a black. So some of my next upcoming winter projects, you probably will see the same color scheme just because she wants a whole set of winter crafts here. So gluing on my snowflakes onto the brim. Cute. And then I will get some glue on the back of the clip of my snowflake ensemble, and then get some glue on the back of this Let It Snow here. And I'll get this put on first. Kind of just center it there. Here comes the glue on the back of the clip. Before I glue that on, I'm using some of these cute little pom-poms here to simulate little snowballs. I just thought that'd add a little bit of detailing here. I put a little bit more on than I originally wanted because I just, for some reason, it wasn't covering like I wanted to, because I wanted to kind of cover up above the bow a little bit more. So I add a little bit more pom-poms to simulate the snowballs, like I said, than I wanted, but I still think it's cute in the end. But you could put as little or as many of these little pom-poms as you want if you want to add the pom-poms, you know, for that little cute snowball details. Just adjusting my pit berries here. Adding in more of the snowballs, of course. Because there's just so much room because the greenery I added is so thick and tall. I thought the use of cute little snowballs would kind of fill that in a little bit. I think I end up using like 7 or 8 of these. And I'm going to go ahead and add one little jingle bell, just for, you know, a little bit of something else. A few more snowballs. Love the different sizes, and of course all these little pom-poms came from Dollar Tree. Gluing in the last of these. And then once I get them glued on, off camera, I'm going to use some of this spray glitter I get from Walmart. That makes this project complete. But I'm not going to show you the final looks yet. I will show you that at the end of our second project so that you can see it all as a set. So let's move on with project number 2. For this project, we're going to make a cute hanging mitten, and I got these pieces. I think they come 5 or 6 to a pack. You can get them from Hobby Lobby. You could use foam board for this, which in the case of like the hat we just made, you could use foam board, cardboard, anything you want. This wood is so thin, it's like 1/8 of an inch thin, and you could use like a Dollar Tree sign as well. I literally just free-handed the little mitten and the cuff at the top. And I'll show you here just with some heavy-duty scissors, just cut it out. It was nice and easy. Actually, a little bit thinner than the other one that we used for the hat. And, you know, we had to kind of use a craft knife on that one. But this one was thin enough to cut, you know, with scissors. And again, foam board, cardboard, anything you want for these projects. DIY white swan chalk paint for this. I'm just going to kind of do like we did on the other project. I'm going to just paint around the front, just around the about 1 inch in, and in the sides and the back completely covered so it's nice and finished off. Do a little bit on the cuff here. I love how this turned out. I think it looks so cute with the hat. So this is going a little bit more in depth, as I discussed earlier, how I did these new pattern pieces. So I just trace around each piece here, just like that. And then I go in, this is about 1/4 of an inch in, and I just redraw a new perimeter. Just like that, nice and easy. Doing the same thing on the mitten. Now the mitten I don't quite have to go all the way up because the cuff will cover that part. So, you know, I cut about 1/2 inch from the top is where I started my new pattern here. And then I just cut that new pattern out. That makes it nice and easy. And then I'm just going to kind of curve the edges because that's how I did the mitten. When I sanded the wood cuff on the mitten, I kind of sanded the edges a little bit so they curve. And so I'm pinning this mitten pattern to my fabric. It's the same fabric I used in the first project because I want it to be a matching set. And you can see on the mitten I have another new pattern I drew about 1/4 inch in. So we're going to cut this fabric out first. I've just cut it 2 pieces. I'm just going to leave that together. And so here's the new perimeter I drew on that, and I've got it pinned to some, felt from Dollar Tree. And I'm just cutting it out on that new perimeter so that our felt will be a little bit shorter, the pattern a little bit shorter than the main fabric, just like in the first project. And I'm cutting that out, and you can see here what it would look like. And this helps get our little puffy look. So I wanted to show you that more in depth on this project. Here it is, everything's sewn. Again, you could skip this part. I just like that look. Using Beacon Fabri-Tac glue here. I love this. I advocate for this all the time. I will have a link in my description box to the Beacon Fabri-Tac website where you can purchase the glue. So I'm getting some glue on my cuff here. The cuff is also 2 pieces of felt, and then a little bit of twine here so that I can make a hanger because I want this to be able to hang. Gluing that down, and then gluing down my little felt fabric here. Cover up our ends of our twine, and then here I am gluing down the 2 pieces of felt on the mitten. You can see how thin it is. That's why I use 2, and plus 2 layers gives it a little bit more thickness. And when I cut the main mitten fabric here, I cut it in 2 layers again to give it more thickness. And so as I lay it down on that felt, since that felt's a little bit shorter all the way around, I can push those edges up right up against that felt. And I know we saw this in the first project, but again, like I said, I just wanted to show it to you again a little bit more in depth. It just gives it a nice puffy, country home look. You can see here how puffy it is. But don't have to use fabric here. You could cover this with paper. You could just leave it painted if you want the painted look. Either way will look cute. So here I am marking the cuff, where I want to put the glue. And then I'll do like I did the other one. I do it off camera. I glue this on and just add those little cute pink Dollar Tree clips for, a couple of minutes. This glue sets up in about a minute. Our mitten is ready to go here. So here's in depth a little bit more of my pieces, my wintry pick here. These are the pom-poms, what I got at Dollar Tree. These are the snowflakes I'm going to use on this one. They're ornaments from Dollar Tree. They're plastic glittery. But if you got packages of these wood stickers at Dollar Tree, some had the snowflakes in it, you could use that. These are the beads I use. Pick these up at Walmart, but we all have wood beads, but some of the beads I use. These are the little packages of signs you can get at Dollar Tree. This is the ribbon I use from Walmart at Christmas time. You could, of course, use anything. And then, of course, the white twine. You get balls of white twine at Walmart. Ours is like $1.74 for a big, ball of it. So we're going to go ahead, and then of course some pip berries. We're going to go ahead and glue down our winter greenery here, just like the first project, so that it is all matchy-matchy, and we're doing it in the same order. So not really exciting here, but it all come together. So I want Let It Snow on this little sign here. So I penciled it in, and I'm going to use this metallic marker in white from Dollar Tree. I like the metallic marker better than I think they have a chalk marker and a glass marker. It's just a little bit more bolder when you write it on, and I will usually write it on as I'm doing here, and I'll do like 3 or 4 coats. Let it dry for just a couple seconds and then do it again 2, 3, 4 times to get it nice and bold. So these little snowflake ornaments has a hole in it, and I don't want just one hole in it, so I'm going to use my crocodile here, and I'm going to add holes all the way around on the other little pieces and the other little ends here, just so it looks like that's the way it was designed instead of just, one hole. There, looks a little better. And then I'm going to add these onto the end of the twine here. Now that hole's pretty big, so I want some pretty big beads here so the snowflake doesn't fall through the bead. So here, I didn't show it on the other one, but I have these little beads I got at Hobby Lobby, and I'm just painting them Debbie's Design Diary DIY chalk paint. This is Gravel Road. This stuff actually, when you paint it, paints on darker, and then as I'm using my heat tool here, you see it gets lighter. But I love the color. It's a nice light gray. I'm putting those on a skewer to paint them because it makes it easier, and then I will add that and a white bead right underneath those cute snowflakes. Perfect. And then I'll do just like the other project. Like I said, everything in here is pretty similar to the other ones, just some subtle differences. Figure out the length I want here though on my snowflakes and bead, and then of course tie a knot, or a half knot I guess really. Half knot, and then cut off the excess. Just let a little bit hanging there. I really like how this one turned out. And then, just like the other project again, I'm going to add a little glue inside that clip there. I'm going to add my pit berries and my twine bow right in that area. Just to give it a little something something. And then I'll get some glue on here and get that ready. Get it glued on, and then we'll, same thing, add those pom-poms to give us a little bit of a snowball look. This time, of course, I think I put on just the right amount of snowballs. Well, it's a smaller area. Smaller area equals less snowballs. And once I get these on here, then I'll go ahead and add another bell. I think the silver just kind of goes in nicely with the color palette here and just adds a little something more. And then, of course, once I get all these in here where I like them off camera, I'll go ahead and spray it with some spray glitter. And then that makes this project complete. So I hope you like the projects that I came up with today. Leave me a comment down below and let me know which project was your favorite, or of course maybe you like them both equally. If you're not a subscriber and you like what you saw here today, make sure you hit that red subscribe button and notification bell so you don't miss out on any more videos from me. Please go ahead and give this video a thumbs up. It helps my channel to grow. And before I go, I'm going to leave you with one final thought. You are worth Jesus to God. Choices we make aren't always going to get approval by others. Every choice you make won't be the best, but that's reality. Think of it like this. It's like having a pet. You made the choice to choose that pet, and no matter what you do wrong or what kinds of mistakes you made, your pet still loves you, still sticks by you, still has unconditional love, and this is how it is with Jesus. No matter what your mistake, no matter your choice, Jesus still loves you, still sticks by you. He's your constant, loyal companion. He has unconditional love for you. So in order to make it through all your choices, you're going to have to walk forward knowing that God made His choice for you. You are worth Jesus to God. I thank you for sharing your time with me, and I'll talk with you again soon. Bye.